Hello everybody, welcome back to High Ground. My name is Tanner, and today we're going to be going over the 2023 season stage number 2 guide, or, well, we'll take a brief look at the guide itself, but we're actually going to look at most of this information on Liquipedia because it's easier and generally better. So yeah, taking a look at what's actually in this article itself, we have all the different regions, and I'm just going to focus on North America for this video, as I generally do. Europe and Brazil, along with North America, are all the big dogs, and they get the full 4 slots at the majors, including the upcoming one. We'll see if things get sort of reworked in the future, but for now, you know, they are the only regions that really matter. We've still not seen any other region do anything really significant at an international event, so we'll focus on them, and particularly in North America. Do note that the format for North America, Europe, and Brazil is similar, but North America has 9 teams versus the 10 that are present in each of Europe and Brazil, and Brazil and Europe are also split up into 2 groups of 5. For some reason, it's just like widely regarded as inferior to just doing the full round robin like North America does, and I'm sure North America would be doing the groups as well if they had 10 teams, but luckily or unluckily, however you want to look at it, we only have 9 teams because we had 8 last stage, 1 dropped out, 2 more joined, so 8 to 7 to 9. Anyways, yeah, we'll talk about North America. Keep in mind, most of the things are very similar for Europe and Brazil, except for the round robin is split up between 2 groups, and then the qualifying for the playoffs is a little bit different, but the playoffs is pretty much the same. So okay, let's see what information's here. I'll link this below. Feel free to click on it and check it out there. I'll also link Liquipedia, which is what we're going to look at next, and you'll see one of the big reasons we're going to look at Liquipedia. So North America has all this info, which we'll also see on Liquipedia, about the schedule and the format. We have the LCQ, the SI points, all of this stuff, prize pool, yeah. And then a few links for more info, but all the other regions just has the links. There's not all the info. I don't know why they did it like that, but I guess Asia has some info. Like most of the info is just not present on this page for some reason, but I mean, luckily for us, most of the info is there for North America, but I don't actually care because we're going to use Liquipedia to look at most of it. Also, so yeah, if you do go to this link and then you do want to go to the other links, say you click on this first one here, I have it already open. The reason I already have it open because when I actually click on it, it takes me to a French page rather than an English page, which is what it should be taking me to. So I have to go in the address bar and change FR-FR to EN-US, so feel free to do that. Change that to whatever your region and language are. And we'd look at this page after I change it to English if it actually was formatted correctly. Now we have all the teams, and that's fine. This will be updated hopefully correctly as the stage goes on. But the play days are not grouped correctly. It says there's only 4 games in this first play day, even though that's not true. There's 6, and these do have the right date on them, the 6th, but they're grouped under Play Day 2, so they just didn't format it right. So for all of these regions that, I don't know, Blast or Ubisoft or whoever just pathetically cannot put together a page correctly, we will go to Liquipedia where we can actually look at the proper info. So here we are on Liquipedia, again, focusing on North America. This will be linked below. If you want to look at another region, feel free to click on any of them here. The LCQ is sort of not part of the actual stage, but for all intents and purposes, North America runs over the course of about 5 weeks if you do include that LCQ. So 3 weeks, well, okay, I'll just call it 4 weeks for the round robin and the playoffs, because one of the play days is on the same week as the beginning of the playoffs, so a little bit interesting scheduling there. Okay, looking at the format, this is the same as it was before. It is single round robin, best of ones. The top 6 teams go to the deciders, which I'll sort of interchangeably call the playoffs. Deciders, playoffs, same thing. The bottom 2 teams go straight to the open qualifier playoffs, which eventually lead to the LCQ if you win. And the 7th place team, the one not mentioned here, goes straight to the LCQ to be joined by 7 other teams to play for the final NA spot at the major. The deciders modified GSL format, so it's a bit of a bracket. All games are best of 3. The top 2 teams from that will qualify to the major phase number 2. So there are 3 phases in the major. You'll go straight into the second one if you're one of the top 2 teams. The 3rd place team will go to major phase 1, and they will be joined by that other team that wins from the LCQ. 3 of the teams from the LCQ will come from the playoffs here, 4th, 5th, and 6th place teams. And now the placings here, the prize pool, this is a little bit confusing. Don't get confused, because this is actually at the very end of things. This is not at the end of round robin. So like if you come back to this page to see how things are progressing, keep in mind that this will show you how things ended at the end of the group stage, at the end of the round robin. This is at the very end of things. And yeah, the top 2 teams get to go to phase 2 of the major. They also get, you know, a significant number of SI points, and actually everyone gets some SI points except for the last place team. First versus second, you get over twice as much money, which is significant. You get a little bit more SI points, but for all intents and purposes, first and second, there's not a huge gap besides the money, right? You're still going to phase number 2 of the major, which is the big thing, but there is I guess a $32,000 match, which we'll see down below, because at one point you're both already qualified and you just play each other to determine who's the first and the second seed. Third is we'll sort of explain this more when we get down below. Fourth place is the team from the LCQ, and then the rest of these guys will not be going to the major, but still some SI points to be handed out, still some money. The prize split in terms of money was a bit different last stage, but they had to add $8,000 for the last team, and that came out of the other team's paychecks. But anyways, looking at the teams: Beast Coast, Dark Zero, M80, Mirage, Oxygen, Wildcard, Sonics, Space Station, and Luminosity. Of course, Wildcard and Luminosity just joining, Parabellum out, and the other 7 teams returning. Not going to be looking at the rosters today. I'll show them just really quickly if you want to pause, but I'll have another video going over this because, as you might have noticed there, the final slot for Dark Zero has still not been formally announced for some reason, even though we pretty well know who it is. So let's take a look at the schedule here. For the round robin section, you'll see that there are 6 play days. There are 2 play days in the first week, so the 6th and the 7th. This is Wednesday and Thursday. And then 3 days in the second week, the 13th, 14th, 15th, which is Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then only 1 day in the third week. So you'd wonder why they don't just do 2, 2, 2, but actually on the 21st, so the very next day after the round robin concludes, we go right into the deciders/playoffs. So a bunch of teams will be playing here, and then they'll play the very next day in the playoffs, switching from best of 1s to best of 3s. All this stuff, like they might be locked into playing in that day already, but they might be determining if they play. So a whole bunch of extra factors. You would have thought there would have been a little bit of a gap there, but no. And I'll come back to this in just a second. Let me show you the bracket here. We're going to come back to this as well to talk about the structure, but just looking at the dates, the 21st for both of these, this one is on the 27th, along with this one, and this one. So a bunch on the 27th, and then I guess just this one on the 28th. So, I mean, a lot of things that it seemed like they could have spread out more, but this is what we're rocking with. So we have the week of the 6th, the week of the 13th, the week of the 20th, and the week of the 27th. And then the following week, which is early October, we have the LCQ being played out. So that's the 5 weeks that I mentioned. And then there's also somewhere in there like the open qualifiers, which lead to the LCQ, but we're mostly focusing on this. So let me also mention, while I'm on the topic here, only 6 play days, but each team has 8 matches to play, right? They have to play against all 8 other teams in the league. So for example, let's look at Mirage here. They play once on the first day, then they play twice, and then they play once, and then they play once again, then they play twice, and then they play once. So they don't have any days off. Some teams do have some days off, which means they're going to have more double days, right? So let's go back to the top, and then we'll look at Sonics here. They play twice, then they play once, and then they have a day off. So unlike Mirage, they have a day off, but then they have to play twice here, and they have to play twice here, and then they play once. So they do have the 1 day off, but they have 1 more double day compared to Mirage. And then finally, let's look at SSG, who are probably a reason why things ended up the way that they did. You'll notice they don't play at all in the first 2 days. So they have 2 days off, and then they play twice. Yeah, they just play 4 play days back to back, all double play days. So in 3 days, they have to play 6 matches. And the reason for that is because their new 5th player, Ashen, doesn't turn 18 until I think it's the 9th of September. So he wouldn't be eligible to play these first 2 ones. So somebody at Ubisoft or Blast was kind enough to allow them to not play any of their games until they were able to play with their full 5, which is good for them, good for the viewers, maybe not as good for their opponents, but for in terms of competitive spirit and whatever, it's good. So yeah, so I guess the main takeaway is that every team is playing at least 2 double days. I guess teams are playing anywhere from 2 to 4, and then some teams have no days off, some teams have 1 day off, and then some teams have 2 days off. Now let's go to the bracket. Right, here is the bracket for the playoffs/deciders. So the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th teams will be seeded here. Probably this is 3rd versus 6th and 4th versus 5th. And then the loser of each of these will fall down to the LCQ seeding. And this match doesn't really matter except for, of course, seeding for the LCQ. Doesn't matter too much. I think this was Sonics versus Oxygen last stage, and then they ended up playing each other. I think Oxygen won here, and then Sonics won when they rematched in I think it was the semis of the LCQ. This doesn't matter that much. The upper bracket semifinals, this is the big one. So you definitely want to win here, of course. I mean, obviously you want to win every match, but if you win this one, you get to go to the major. So this match is the one that determines if you're getting an additional $32,000 and 15 SI points and the first seed for North America going into the major. But again, both these two teams will be going to the same phase of the major. The loser of each of these will go here, and the winner of this will qualify to phase number 1, and then the loser will join these other two teams in the LCQ and join 5 other teams on top of that. And I think that's pretty much it. I hope that wasn't too confusing. I did sort of speed through it, but it's the same as it was last year, so I'm sure most people have a semi-good understanding of it. And again, I don't think I even want to go look at Brazil and Europe. I mentioned the differences, there's different teams, obviously, but I think that pretty well does it. So, right, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, suggestions, or corrections, any of that stuff, feel free to leave it in a comment below, and a like and a subscription would be very much appreciated. Once again, the Jeopardy and the roster change videos should be coming out both within the next week. The Jeopardy one should be this weekend, and the roster one, I don't know, probably in the next few days, I would think, maybe before the week, maybe like Friday, I don't know, whatever day it is, but planning to have it out soon. And okay, that's gonna do it for me. I will catch you guys next time.